what can we help you today?
Right now, my biggest challenge is I have a retention problem. Our clients, they learn so much in 1 year that they feel like they don't need us.
So one of the things you may consider, and we'll get to solutions in a minute, is really taking a lot of your and putting it into really boosting your.
I think it's so important no matter what continuity product you have someone in, whether it's a tax advisory, legal advisory, what we do with Ignite Mastermind or Driven, you have to make them feel like part of your group.
This is going to be the worst episode of Trainwreck ever because I think we're kind of going to agree mostly.
I wish you'd go yourself.
I think one of the problems I saw with your program is the reason you have an 8% show up rate.
Let's dissect that for a minute. So,
welcome back to the Trainwreck Show with Perry Belcher. I'm your host with Emma Rainville. I'm Perry Belcher. I'm a marketing guy, a sales guy, a business growth guy, and the illegitimate son of Larry Flint. Little known secret. With me today, the inspiration for the Disney character Cruella de Vil, Miss Emma Rainville, the unstoppable force of operations. And on this episode, we're doing one of our special episodes that people really like called Unf Your Business. And Emma, why don't you tell them who we have today?
I wish you'd go yourself. Today we are super excited.
Or the dress, it almost is a Dalmatian's dress, proving that the stylists at Shein aren't that great. Go ahead.
You're the one that shops at Shein, not me, as I recall. Okay, so today we're super excited to be welcoming one of our Driven members. Driven Mastermind is Perry, Cossum, and Jason's mastermind, where we have some of the top entrepreneurs in the world get in a room. And so Ryan Bakey is one of our members.
Did he sneak in?
I don't know. We've been asking that question for a while. I feel like our interview process needs to be reviewed. We have some dumb girl doing those calls. So, Ryan, can you tell us who you are and what your business is?
My name is Ryan Bakey. I'm a CPA for real estate investors. We help real estate investors save money on taxes so they have more cash, so they could have more time freedom, so they could spend more time with their kids or family or whatever it is the hell they want to do. So we do a tax strategy and advice as well as filing the actual tax returns.
Awesome. And then today, our episode is Unfuck Your Business. You volunteered to come on and be a victim of the Emma and Perry nightmare that we can be. We'll see if we don't kill each other on this. But what can we help you unfuck today?
Yeah, right. Right now, my biggest challenge is I have a retention problem where our clients, so there's two primary services, right? There's the actual filing of your tax return, which is done every single year, April 15th, right? The second one is actually giving you the advice throughout the year, proactively communicating with you, letting you know, hey, here's what you owe for this quarter, here's what you owe for that quarter. And we like to we let our clients know by November how much money they're going to owe in April.
Okay.
So there's no confusion or surprise.
Which one has the attrition problem? Both or just one?
The advice, the tax advice. And I think they learn so much in 1 year that they feel like they don't need us.
So let's dissect that for a minute. So are they keeping you to file their taxes year after year?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Got it.
We're keeping them at like an 80% clip.
Got it. And so on the advice side, talk to me about how you're delivering that.
So they get one-on-one access with a CPA. So they get 3 one-on-one calls a year, not with me, but with a team member of mine.
Okay.
And then we also do
3 one-on-ones
group calls too in our community.
You just say it again.
The community.
Say it again. The last part.
3 one-on-one calls with a tax advisor, like their own personal advisor. And then they also get a weekly group call with me. I present on, stocks, I present on real estate deals, I present on tax strategies, but they get a weekly group call with me in addition to the 3 one-on-one calls.
Is that group call interactive?
I would say it is interactive. It's always just the same people that show up every week.
What percentage of the group is showing up every week?
8%. Maybe.
8%. Are you sending them replays?
I don't send them replays. I post the replays in the community forum.
Okay. And then at the end of the year, when I go to do my taxes, so let's say I hire you this year, I used someone else last year. At the end of the year, after you our 1 year together, after you file my taxes, what deliverable are you giving me to show me what that ongoing thing did for me?
Normally, they get a big tax refund.
That's not a thing.
No.
That's not a thing. What are you handing to me as a deliverable to show me what your value was?
They get a deliverable with all the strategies that we implemented for them, showing them how much money we saved them.
So you do show them how much money. So at the end of the year, you're going to say, here are your taxes. Also, because you were part of this program, if you would have stayed with your same tax strategy of last year, you would have gotten X. But because you used us, you got X. Is that correct? You're giving them that?
That's right.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for clearing that if I wanted to understand the whole thing. Do you have questions? I'm going to move on to more questions, but do you have questions about that?
Well, you're asking the questions kind of I would have asked. So.
Yep. Usually. It's not that.
It's too bad you don't have the answers. Go ahead.
I have enough answers that you pay me a lot of money every month.
That's more question.
Jesus Christ, piece of Okay, so let's talk about these one-on-one calls. So the one-on-one calls are not.
Don't be looking at my notes coming up with what
I can't even see. I'm just
Good. Because I figured you were trying to steal my ideas, to steal my thunder, you know. You often.
I can just shut up if you want. God, Perry.
Things we dream about at night.
I can leave. Ashley, get in my car. You never tell me to go. You keep paying, so I'm going to keep showing up. All right. So Ryan, sorry about that. We can't get along to save our lives. My next question is the one-on-one call. So I'm going to get 3 one-on-one calls. I'm going to assume that that's the 3 quarters leading up to the end of year filing of taxes when we start talking about what I need to.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
How often do they talk to their CPA one-on-one?
It's 3 calls.
Those 3 calls, they get 1 hour calls, but they have unlimited email support.
Right. That's in a year. They get those 3 calls with the.
What's the cadence of the calls? Is it quarterly? Is it
Typically quarterly, yeah.
okay?
So April, there'd be one in April, there'd be one in July or August, and then there'd be one towards the end of the year.
And on average for your members, what I don't want to use a dollar amount actually. What percentage of what they previously paid are you able to save them?
5 to 30%.
On average?
Yeah, I would say so.
Is that a true statistic?
Yeah.
Jesus, that's a great.
And then in the next calendar year, they say, "Fuck you, I don't need you anymore." And they think they can apply the strategies you taught them in the first year to. This is your belief. This may not be the truth, but your belief is that they're canceling you after that year because they feel like
they've learned it all.
They've learned it all. Yeah.
It's that, as well as like if they didn't buy anything new or they didn't buy any properties or sold any businesses, they don't believe that they can save money.
Nothing's changed, right?
Yeah.
Can we talk about the cost of this? So to have you file my taxes, what's that dollar amount?
The filing typically by itself is $2,000 to $3,000 minimum.
I need to have you file my taxes. This asshole's charging me like 12 grand. Okay. And then what is the cost of the 1 year program?
$7,500 now.
Yeah.
So quite affordable, given I can save 25 to 30% of my taxes every year. What is the range of revenue that you're looking at for your clients? Like I know my clients make between 10 and 50 million in revenue and then 24% of that. So what are your clients earning on average? Like what's your avatar demographic earning?
I would say most of them that are good fits are in the $400,000 to $800,000 a year range take home. So it could be like a doctor.
So what are they paying in taxes? 50 to 70 grand on average?
No. If you're single making $400K, you're definitely paying over 100. Single making 800, you're paying over 200 for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Any answers or just more questions? Would you like more questions?
I want to understand. Instead of being like you and just pulling shit out of my ass and making things up, you just asked the last person 400 fucking questions and you didn't even get the point. So
I asked him 400 questions and I got the point.
Okay, Ryan. So last question I have on the attrition portion, the 7,500.
Actually, Emma's pretty good at attrition. I'll give her that. She is. She's kept Gabe around all these years. God knows how.
I absolutely hate
it. How the hell does anybody stay in that program? Man, that would have 130%.
So I've been married to the same person for a decade. How many of you gotten to take half of your earnings in the past decade, you piece of shit? Absolutely. Okay.
Come on, let's go. People.
Okay. Oh, right. Okay. God, I lost my last question. So Ryan, on the attrition clients, so 8% are showing up to the calls, but what's the total number of people on average that you have in that program?
350.
Okay. That's a lot. That's awesome. So 350 people. And how many years has this been running?
I've only had this offer since July of 23.
Okay. So it's been recent fall off.
And what was your first year churn?
Probably only 30% of them stayed.
So you have 70% churn.
On the strategy part.
Yeah.
One last question. I'm sorry, this made me think of a new one. So on the taxes, when they came back and they did their taxes in 2024, after they didn't stay with you, right? I don't know if you've actually hit this yet, because you probably haven't hit this yet. Is there a plan to say, hey, you could have saved X with our program and you didn't?
It's that, or they reach out with questions that they're not paying any money for us to give them answers to. Like clients have questions regardless of if they pay or not, and they expect you to answer those specific questions. But if they're not enrolled into the program, they don't get an answer.
You don't answer them? What is your answer to them? Like, hey, you enroll in the program?
Pretty much. Or book a one-off call for $1,000.
I want to talk through some of the issues I see here, just because my expectation of my CPA is that he's going to give me tax strategy anyway. So I want to talk about how to differentiate that. But before I go into that, I want to let you out. You said you had a few more questions.
Yeah. So, what pool are you fishing in to get these clients?
Drivens.
Other than hustling people at a driven?
Mostly Facebook organic, Instagram. I do a lot of email marketing.
Who are you targeting? Are you targeting, you said real estate initially, so are you targeting real estate investors?
Yeah, I mean, most of these people are earning a high active income from W-2 or a business, and they're dumping it into rental properties.
Okay. How do you know that?
Well,
how do you identify that in a Facebook audience?
They join my group that is centered around real estate investors, and we ask them questions. How many rental properties?
So these are high earners that invest in real estate to take away some of the tax burden. Yeah, that correct?
Yeah, I get that, but I'm asking how do I know, right? How do you know when you're targeting your ads that that's who you're targeting?
How do we know?
Like, how do you know? Is there a call out at the front of your ad that says, hey, if you're a high net worth individual, invest in real estate and feel like you're paying too much taxes, you should listen to this message? Is that
it might be, real estate investors with at least 5 properties.
All right. So you are doing a call out to identify the audience.
Yes.
Okay. That's what I want to know. Okay. Now, so they sign up for what? A webinar or a class or something, or a one-on-one, or what do they sign up for?
Right now I'm running ads to a 12-minute VSL.
Yeah.
And then the VSL to a book a call.
Okay. Got it. So now they get on a book a call and then they're offered what?
So originally, which was a mistake on my part, they were getting offered, a $10,000 offer straight from a VSL, which converted at like less than 10%, which isn't ideal, but
why did
$10,000?
Bullshit though. That's bullshit. So why? Because here's the thing. Why do you say that was a bad idea? Because I'm thinking that's a good idea, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So tell me why you think that was a bad idea. So what changed?
So last month we took 65 sales calls that resulted in 5 closes, and it's like, well, damn, those 60 people didn't.
Yeah. So what if have you done something? Have you made a different kind of offer that performed considerably better than that?
Well, we are going to start implementing a front end offer where they get like a little bit of the tax advice and planning at only a $3,000 price as opposed to $7,500.
But how did you get the 350 people that are currently in the program? What offer brought the vast
organic marketing and
to what?
Podcasting.
To what?
Podcasting to book a call to
sell what?
The $7,500 offer.
Okay. So the $7,500 offer sold the $10,000 offer didn't. Is that what you're saying? But now you want to try a $3,000 offer because you think the $7,500 offer that was cheaper showed that they want a lower price point. So you want to dip to a $3,000 price point. Did I get that right?
I think one of the things that I tapped a lot in my organic audience, like really heavily over the last couple of years. And so I feel like as if I'm running out of organic people to sell to. So that's why I started doing ads in the first place. So those people were buying, whatever I threw out there because they were getting followers and traffic.
Well, you're going to find that to be true, man. Those paid, the price point in paid is going to matter some, but there's no way that those paid media clients are going to convert at the same rate and at the same amount as your organic people are. Organic just absorbs so much more of your time. If I meet a girl in a bar for 15 minutes, the odds of me sleeping with her are pretty low. If I meet her at a party, spend 2 hours with her, see her at another party, spend 2 hours with her, and then we go to a play together, spend another 2 hours together, the odds of me getting laid are still zero. But for the average guy, much higher, right? So when they're binging organic content of yours, like on a podcast or in a YouTube channel or whatever, and that 7-11-4 principle that I teach a lot, I didn't invent it. A lot of other people done it. But
the 7-11-4 principle, just really quick, we've done on the podcast before. You can go find it, but it give us a high level.
Yeah, 7 hours of absorbing 7 hours of time committed to you, 11 interactions, be it email, text message, video, etc., in 4 different locations. I did to the air quotes locations being YouTube, podcast, blog, ebook, whatever, right? So you want to have different modalities online. If you were doing this in a dating scenario, and frankly, marketing is very much like dating, right? There has to be a time commitment. There's a certain amount of interactions that you have. And like if you take a girl to the same place on all 4 dates, your odds are lower than if you take her to 4 different places, right? So especially if one's in a van down by the river. So I'm just saying that's works.
Only what
that one
kids from Kentucky.
That one works.
It doesn't work.
But organic's always going to be better for you. So one of the things you may consider, and we'll get to solutions in a minute, is really taking a lot of your paid media money and putting it into really boosting your organic more. Because I really think for what you do, there's a particular challenge in your business. I like your business a lot. I've told you that before. I think that anytime you're selling tax savings, you're selling money at a discount, right? I love that business. But I think the biggest challenge in your business is, am I going to get in trouble? I have people that approach me all the time because I pay far too much money in taxes. I have people that approach me constantly with, let me tell you about the double Dutch Barbados.
I got a movie you can invest in.
Barbados Corporation, double flip, Dutch, Irish, and bullshit stuff. And I'm like, that's going to put me in jail, dude. F you, I'll just pay my taxes, right? I don't do well in orange. So I think that...
Or does he?
Yeah, you're right. So, double your odds. So what happens when they sign up, by the way, for your webinar? Or the book a call? What do they see on the next page?
So after they watch the VSL, they have to fill out an opt-in form that lets us know how many properties they have, what's their income. Yeah, that's their goal.
Yep.
Then they go right to book a call, and then it's a thank you page with me and FAQs, I believe.
Yeah. So on that thank you page, something that'll help you with that funnel for what it's worth. If you've got YouTube videos, put all of them on that page. If you've got podcast interviews, put all of them on that page. You want them to deep dive you because they feel like they need to do their due diligence on you. You need to give them the ability to do it easily with everything about you being right there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because that's going to build the trust for the call. Now, here's the challenge. So they're going to go from there to they're going to get on a call with one of your CPAs or with a closer.
A sales rep.
Yeah, they're going to get on
house CPAs.
Yeah. So that sales rep is going to talk to them about tax strategies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they talking to them particularly about Ryan's methodology and how different it is and how we are you're now in the Bakey bundle, or whatever you want to call it. You need a name, by the way. You need a name for your method.
Yeah.
There needs to be a brand for your method. There's accounting, and then there's Pilates, right? There's massage, and then there's there's Rolfing, right? Rolfing is a certain brand of massage. So there's massage. There's you want to be Rolfed or you want to massage? You can't just be accounting. You got to be Rolfing of accounting, right? Because your shit is secret, and other CPAs, A, they don't know it. B, they don't feel confident teaching it. And C, they're busy punching numbers into a computer. They're not, a CPA's job is really not to help you with strategy. That should be a tax advisor.
Right.
The job of the CPA is to punch your numbers in and make sure they're accurately reported to the IRS.
But do people know that?
I think you got to educate them.
Right. That was going to be my point.
And the best way to educate them is if you got, I'm trying to think of a better example, but
I have one question I just want to have. The CPA that they're meeting with and the person who's punching in their numbers, is it the same person or a different person?
No, the advisor is different from the preparer.
Okay, that's perfect.
yeah.
Okay.
So they're getting the quarterly call with the advisor or the preparer?
The advisor.
Okay. So tell me, how then does a person get to be a $2,000 to $3,000 a year filing only client?
When I originally started the firm, they would have to sign up for tax strategy in order for us to also file their tax returns. So we almost like cup the tax prep. Now I have a lower ticket community that we do their tax returns only for a slightly higher price than if they would have paid for strategy and prep.
And what percentage of the business dollar wise does that make up over what percentage of the business is the $7,500 advisory?
So I just started that front end offer a couple of months ago. I know last year I did basically a 50-50 split between advisory and tax prep revenue. It was like I grossed about $3 million and it was $1.5 million.
But obviously the advisory portion had a much higher net margin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And that's what you'd like to probably grow more of, right?
Yes. Advisory. And I do want to grow the book of tax prep revenue, because at the end of the day, that's going to be the sellable part of the business. The advisory, like, obviously that it comes and goes, and it's also very economical. So yeah, I got you. In a downturn, they may not pay for advice anymore or strategy. Like that's why you see consultants get laid off all the time when there's a downturn.
Okay.
But people still need to prepare that tax return.
Okay. I got some ideas, but you go to you, and then I'll go into like the FISU.
Okay.
When you're ready.
Sure. There's a couple of things here, and we touched on it a little bit. Number one is education, the difference between, and a lot of people don't understand the difference between a CPA and a tax advisor, a tax strategist. And so, I was saying earlier, joking around, mine's 12. I need to start having you do my taxes. Mine's 12 because he's a tax strategist. That's why I pay so much, to have my taxes filed by him. So that being said, when you're bringing them on, I would focus a lot on the education between the differences between their tax strategist, their tax advisor, and the CPA filing their taxes, so that they understand the differential of what they're paying. The next thing is there are tax things, and I'm an idiot when it comes to taxes, that's why I pay someone so much money, that come out all throughout the year. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
And so I would really be harping on sending my clients emails, I would send them the replays, by the way. If they're not watching them, they're not getting value. So I would be sending them constantly like, this is not going to be great marketing. This is going to be ops speaking. So make sure you think through the marketing end of this. But if there's this new thing that comes out on taxes, as part of your advisory group, we're staying on top of these things for you year over year, because things are changing constantly. You have to make them feel like things change so often. And they do, by the way. It isn't like you're lying or manipulating. Things change so often that in order to stay on top of these things, you need this advisory to keep them in the know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got to keep them dependent on us.
Right. What you're doing is you're giving them all this. If I teach you what and I believe that you've taught me what you know over the course of a year. Why would I continue to keep paying you? I have to believe you, and I'm just going to go a little bit on a rant. I pay Ryan Poteet. We pay Ryan Poteet a ton of money. I have spent years with that man. Damon Wright, Ryan Poteet, Claire Winchesenhausen. Can't say her last name, but Claire's amazing. Claire's amazing. But we've spent a lot of money and time with the Gordon Reese attorneys. So why year over year over year over year over year do I continue to spend time with them at conferences, to take them to dinner, to fly out, to see them, to spend as much time as I can with them? Because the FTC and the FDA change constantly. So if you can convince me, Ryan, that things are changing constantly with taxes, with strategy, with code, with my ability to just for example, the travel side of things. I don't even know what it is anymore. I pay someone to know. It used to be that when you travel, you could only get 50% of what you spent as a write-off. And then it was if your employees went and spent the money and you did it as a reimbursement, that was a trick to be able to get 100%. This is nonsense that I'm saying, but there's so many things like this that you could continue to report on. And if you continue to report to them and say to them, like, I'm staying on top of this for you. You don't need to worry about it. Here's more ease for your mind. Make sure you're doing this instead of that. I would be putting out pain point headlines constantly. Tax code changed yet again to try to fuck you over. Here's where I have come to save the day. This is what you need to implement right now. So that way at the end of the year, you don't get screwed. I'm staying on top of this for you. I'm staying on top of this for you. I'm staying on top of this for you. That's just massive and huge. Because you're going to now make it, I'm on your tit now. I can't get breast milk anywhere else. It's so, so, so important for you to be giving me that dependence. I need to feel dependent upon you. I also need like doomsday shit from you. Like if you, I'm just saying like.
No, I'm right. I've just written down almost everything you said, right? So this is going to be the worst episode of Trainwreck ever because I think we're kind of going to agree mostly.
Okay, well.
Which makes for bad TV.
Well.
Once in a blue moon.
Maybe you're finally learning. Anyway. Anyway, and then I'll actually kind of just leave some of that for him because the doomsday stuff, he's going to be better at the explanation of that. But I really want to feel like if I don't know you, if I don't have you in my corner, I would have spent $10,000 to the government this year. And I spent $7,500 to keep $2,500. Makes sense on just one thing, And then the other part I'm going to talk about is attrition that you probably haven't thought of. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. I think it's so important no matter what continuity product you have someone in, whether it's a tax advisory, legal advisory, what we do with Ignite Mastermind or Driven Mastermind. Ryan, you're in Driven. A couple of months ago, did you get a beautiful box from me?
I did. It had my name on it.
And what did that make you want to do?
Stay in the family, stay with Driven.
Did you feel like family when you opened that beautiful box with I gave you all kinds of stuff with our branding on it, from candy and cookies to like actual tangible goods. Did that make you feel like family, like you were a part of something?
Yeah.
You need to do that. For $7,500, it's not the $35,000 it is to be in Driven. So you're not we do that a couple times a year. You're not going to spend $1,000 a couple times a year to send people stuff. But $200 on a box.
Nice $200.
$200 box that says probably I would do about 3 months before their renewal. With Driven, we actually do it at intervals because we have people in and out all the time. But I would set up a box that you could go to like mailbox.com and set up an automation so you don't even have to think about it, where they automatically get a box 9 months in. You could use Mark Stern, another Driven member. He's phenomenal at building these
amazing boxes.
Builds amazing boxes. I would sit with him, utilize him for this.
You probably build a $100 box with Mark that would be really impressive.
Really impressive. Yeah. And so you send this to them. I'd send them a small gift when they first come on board. And then I'd send them something about 3 months ahead of time, a tangible thing that they can have that makes them feel like they're a part of your group, that they're a part of something. And then the final thing that I would suggest, and I don't know if you have this already, I don't know if you have a Facebook group or a Slack group or what you have, similar to what we have a Facebook group for Ignite and we have a Slack channel for Driven. The Slack channel gets expensive, by the way. So and you can think through whether you want to do it on like a GHL members area, or I like to utilize what people are already on. People are already on Slack and they're already on Facebook. So they're already interacting there. And I would allow people to interact with each other as part of a network. And be honest, what's more valuable to you? Your friendship with me, Perry, Jason, Cossum, and the faculty, or the fact that you get to go to events and in Slack channels and all of the network of the 100 the 1%ers that you get to hang out with and just message on Slack at any given time? What's more valuable to you?
All the people.
So create all the people. They're all doing this. Like, hey guys, I'm having real trouble finding a good real estate agent. And I'm making things up. I have no idea. But I'm having trouble finding a good real estate agent to find me a fourplex in Orlando, Florida. Does anybody have a connection? And like people like Suneet can actually help you deliver on those things. So that's just, those are my suggestions. I was going to talk more about the doomsday stuff, but I'll let Perry take over because I know.
Yeah, you were into that.
Yeah.
It's not be very long. So there's a guy named Wis Laughlin, W-I-S Wis Laughlin in Memphis, Tennessee. Wis was my tax advisor accountant while I lived in Memphis 17 years ago.
Was this before or after you learned not to drop the soap?
Oh, depends.
Right.
Depends on how attractive the other person is. And WIS sends out a monthly newsletter with what all's changed in the tax code, what's new in the tax code, and it's funny. It has some entertainment to it. You might want to look him up, just get on his email list, Wis Laughlin. And he's kind of a comedian. He's a jokester, which is kind of fun. They add some entertainment to tax because tax is fucking boring, right? But also, I was with Venable Law Firm and now with Gordon Reese Law Firm. They all do the same things. They put out like a newsletter or a private bulletin, a private client memorandum, whatever you want to call it, that every time there's a big change, a big shift, it's 100% right. They're keeping me up to date on that. I think one of the problems I saw with your program, and the reason you have an 8% show up rate, nobody wants to talk about fucking taxes 4 times a month. I don't care who you are. Ain't nobody wants to do that. So you can save yourself a bunch of work. Frankly, I think a once a month call with you as the researcher, you got to think about what your job is, right? So for Ignite Mastermind, Driven Mastermind, I figured out this year, the last couple of years, actually, what my job really is. My job is really that of a researcher. I'm a person that goes out and researches the best things to do, tests them, and then provide the result of the test I got from this theoretical thing over here. I test that result and I deliver those tested results to my clients. But
you have to be careful how, you have the lowest show up rate for the Ignite calls. It's because
it's not as low as his.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
About 30.
Not at all. But people who you pay.
Yeah, sometimes they get better, and I'm getting to that.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can get on the Venable, the Gordon Reese newsletters without being a client. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But I would try to get on this.
All you have to do is have a consultation.
Yeah. So I personally, from an offer standpoint, I wouldn't sell those 2 offers. I'd have an offer. And if you can afford to deliver the tax prep in the $7,500 offer, I don't know what it costs you to deliver the tax prep. I think that allowing them to get tax prep from you, it's a lower position of your value anyway, because you're not going to be able to prepare taxes for them as proficiently without understanding and knowing their strategy, or without them following the Bakey method strategy, whatever the method is.
What's the margin on the tax prep, Brian?
That's still pretty high, 45%.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
But I don't know.
He's a good feeder.
She always wants to milk more out of the client. I understand. But if you can sell twice as many of these things, if it's all inclusive, because you can say, hey, tax prep is $3,000 to $5,000 a year, advisory is $10,000 a year, but today you can get both put together for $7,500 a year. If it doubles your conversion rate, you don't need to. I really love the idea of like Ignite Mastermind's done well because it's a bucket. It's everything in the world for X. We don't go back and say, oh, if you want that part, well, that's going to be this much and this is going to be that much.
We don't nickel and dime.
I don't nickel and dime them. And that's really fallen out of favor with people.
We have tack-ons though, Perry. We have Make It Real.
Yeah.
We have Boardroom. Like we do have tack-ons.
There's certain escalation. Yeah. But if you're, I think the big thing to say to these people early on is if you're in business, your number one business expense is always going to be the same. It's always going to be taxes. If you have a profitable business, your number one business expense is taxes because it comes off the profit, not off the gross. And when people understand that, and you would never go in your business and not watch your expenses. But so many people are not watching their number one business expense that really matters, and that's taxes. So I think if you drive that point home, your box program that she's talking about, and I'm going to get to what I would do in monthly deliverables in a second. I think your box program would be kind of fun to do a Misery Loves Company box program that you send out on April the 13th every year. That's like a bottle of Tylenol, a bottle of booze. What are you going to do to prepare for tax day? Because it's never a fun day for people who have to pay taxes. You can send them send them a DVD of When Harry Met Sally to watch to try to feel better.
I would only send that to people who aren't using your advisory.
We'll see.
I wouldn't send that to people who use it.
Because if I got to pay $100, I'm still pissed about the $100. I don't want to ever pay any tax. So I keep running. But I would
hate Trump.
I would probably look at, this is the cadence I would use if I was you. Okay. I would send out once a month a newsletter, and I would model, if you can send, I don't know if you can share the Gordon Reese thing or Venable. I can probably share one from Venable. I think I still get Venables of kind of like what's changing in the strategy.
So Gordon Reese not only has the what's changing, but they also have their, one of the things that they have, Ryan, is what is it called? Damn it. It's like the legal Bible or the legal guide for advertisers. I'll share that with you. I'll share that with you for sure. You should have something like that, and they update it every year.
Yeah. Secondly, instead of doing that second call, instead of doing another call, I would do an interview with someone who can help them grow their business, because taxes are boring, growth is exciting. So you need some sexiness in there.
Yeah.
You need to bring in somebody who buys self-storage units and don't let them pitch. But at the end, you can say, hey, I want to interview you about self-storage units and why they're a good investment for my audience. And at the end, I'll say, where can they find out more about you? And you can even take an affiliate rip off that. You probably don't have enough clients it's going to matter, but you might, right? Regardless, you're going to get interesting, exciting guests in there that are not just you over and over.
I would still do the 4 calls. I think that we're not in alignment on that. I would still do the 4 calls, Ryan, but on my 4
I
call,
wouldn't possibly if I'm getting.
I 100% would do the 4 calls still. I would have mine be a doomsday call. So
that's where I'm getting them.
When you're doing it, but then the other 3 can be sexy things that grow their business. Same thing. Like I was saying with his show up rate is so much less because they're so used to seeing him.
Yeah. It's too much. It's too many run.
I hardly ever come on. So when I come on, I get like 4 times what he had last week.
Yeah. Then she'd get 220% of the whole fucking audience. We got 1,000 people in there. She gets 2,200 every time she's on there.
I do not get 2,200. That's not what I said.
So you
get one from what you got. You got 140. You got 140. You got 140.
I got one.
You got 140. And you literally text me and said, oh my God, what a terrible show up rate. It's because you've not.
The show up rate last week was a bad show up rate. Okay.
Anyway.
Third, I'd go ahead and do the call that you already do. That's popular, but once a month instead of once a week. And then I would do a train wreck report. It could be a video. It could be a live call. I don't think very many people, to be frank, I know there's no way on God's green earth that once a week I'm going to hop on to a fucking tax show. I'm not going to do it.
Not a chance.
But I might read a newsletter. Because I do. I read Wiss's newsletter probably every 3 months. I would definitely hop on an interview to learn about self-storage units or mobile homes or, multifamily things, other things that I may not be investing in as a real estate investor and why those are cool ideas. And I'd be happy that you brought me those. Then there's once a month, you do your Ryan call. That's a normal, it's a normal tax strategy call. And then send me a thing about, hey, this guy got and went to prison because of blank, showing how somebody just really got blown up. I personally wouldn't want that to be a call because I wouldn't want to be associated to that person who got blown up. I would say, hey, I've got a video here of a guy that used his local accountant to skirt the IRS, and boy, did he ever get fucked. Check out this video. and showing the kicking in the door and rating, whatever. Or somebody who's paid way too much in an exit like me. I paid my first exit that I ever had. I was out almost 30% of my gross income, from that exit. The next one I was out 15%. The next one I was out 5%. So you learn as you go, but I didn't know. So that person got killed, right? So this is the delta between knowing what you're doing and not knowing what you're doing. And it's a little less work on your part to do it this way. And if you've got staff members that could handle some of this, that are capable and engaging, and there's a lot of ifs and SS. They have to be capable. They have to be engaging. I'll have Emma on. She'll come in and do an episode. Angie Norris will come in and do an episode. Nuna, our tech guy, will come in and do an episode. They are all engaging people, right? They're not people who are shy on camera or that can't be on camera. And the best way to bring them in, by the way, is to have them on a show with you a couple of weeks and edify them and let people know that they're a trusted advisor of yours, a part of your team. And then pretty soon, like I've got one call now that I was doing every week. I do it like once a month now because they prefer the other people on that call. It's less for me. It's more variety for them, and they're happy. They like me on there sometime.
I think they like you a lot. I think people show up for you, but it becomes it's not that you're teaching the same thing. It feels too familiar. It feels too familiar. I come on, and I was joking about the show up rate. I did get a way higher show up rate than you, but it's because I didn't come on for months.
Yeah.
And then I popped on.
Yeah.
And then Angie comes on months, doesn't come on for months. And then Richard doesn't come on for months. And so people are like, oh, new perspective I need to show up for.
Yeah. And I think that would help you a lot. So anyway, any feedback on that before we wrap, or any other questions, follow-ups, thoughts, feelings, emotions? Hello.
No, I'm here. Yeah, you said edify your team. I call it Drake featuring my team.
Same thing.
I heard of, yeah. It's like, you just have to put them on a pedestal and staff.
Oh, I'm always like, hey, this is the person who really does the work while I talk.
Well, he seeds it while he's teaching, though. It isn't just about, like, even if I'm not on a call, I know that he's mentioned me 4 or 5 times during the call because he's just letting his people know that I'm the person he goes to, which verifies me as my value when I show up.
It elevates your status as a boss.
Right.
It elevates your status as a, hey, I don't do
that shit. I have someone that does that shit for me.
Constantly. Hey, how do I do so and so? I said, dude, I don't do that shit. But I got Emma that does that shit, or I got Angie that does that shit, or I got Russell that does that shit, which you would think that when you say, I don't know how to do that it would make you feel less knowledgeable.
No,
the opposite is actually true. It makes you, and that way they're less bugged that you're not the guy on the quarterly coaching calls with them.
Right.
You're getting kicked to the person that you go to for advice for that particular thing. Does that make sense? But you got it. You've seen my 4 boxes. You know my 4 boxes model, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you need a 4 box.
Also, if you don't know what the 4 boxes is, you can go in and look at a previous podcast we had called the 4 magic boxes.
4 magic, but you need a 4 magic boxes. You need to have the bakey boxes that are here are the 4 big buckets that I save you money on in your taxes. Bucket 1, bucket 2, bucket 3, bucket 4, or something along those lines. You see what I'm saying? And this is how we manage all of our clients, by this overarching method or theory or strategy that we use. And now you've created a blue ocean. I don't know if you've read Blue Ocean Strategies or not, but now Jimmy, the accountant across town, he ain't got no strategy. He's a CPA. He went to school to be a CPA, so I can do your taxes. Brian has this amazing 4 boxes principle thing over here that it doesn't have to be your name. It can or not. But you have this 4 magic boxes principle, or the Rolfing method, or there's all sorts of ways that you can, Grant Cardone has the 10X formula, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to name, I can't emphasize how important that's going to be to your success. You've got to name that mechanism. It's super important because now you just taken everybody out. So if you don't, and when they want you to just do their taxes for them the next year, say, hey, fuck it. Why don't you go get somebody else to do your taxes? They do your taxes, get H&R Block to do them. Yeah, I think you ought to do that. If you don't want to use this, then go get H&R Block to do your taxes, man. I don't want to do them because I don't want to be responsible. This is the way I would position this.
So good, Perry.
I don't want to be responsible for the outcome. If you haven't followed the recipe, I don't want to be responsible for the cake. Does that make sense? You sound like that didn't hit with you.
No, I mean,
He's a CPA. He has no affect whatsoever.
He has no emotion.
None whatsoever.
I forgot.
I got emotions. I mean, that's a good amount.
I got emotions.
I got emotions.
I got emotions and stuff.
Tell me,
boss. I don't get no ideas.
All right, Ryan, thank you so much for coming on to My Business on the Trainwreck Show. We hope that helps. We'd love to invite you back after you implement some of this stuff and hear how it worked out for
Trainwreck Show, by the way.
Yeah.
You've got a business and you want to be on the Trainwreck Show.
Or if you have a great business and one little problem.
Yeah, and go to trainwreckshow.com, yeah?
Uh-huh.
I hope that's our address. Trainwreckshow.com.
That's our
Fill out the little form on there that says I'm and unfuck me. And
be careful, because if you put me, Perry will definitely call.
it depends. or well, if you just got out of prison.
All right.
That's cool. Thanks so much for being on. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you want to work with us more closely, go to ignitemastermind.org or drivenmastermind.com and check out the masterminds. One might be for you. The Driven's for people who do over $1 million. Ignite's for people who do under $1 million. We got you over and under, and we'll just sandwich you in between. You know, we be the meat and that bread. You know what I'm saying? All right.
See you next time.
Thanks so much. Take care.